6.5. The graphs of sine and cosine functions. To understand graphs of sine and cosine function, we need to reanalyze the unit circle value. So based on our unit circle, we define that this x-axis equal to cosine theta, and then y equal to sine theta. And so from now on, we more using radian value compared to angle value, because we set up r equal to 1. So the radian value equal to angle value basically. So we start using radian value as the most. Okay, so briefly review. So if this is 0, then this is pi, and then one complete cycle become 2 pi basically. And now this will be pi over 2. And then become 3 pi over 2 here. Okay? So let's review briefly about 30, 60, and 90 triangle case. Okay. Then so if you don't understand all the value of those 30, 60, 90 value, please go back to unit circle video and then watch that please. So this is pi over 6. In this case, the coordinate value become root 3 over 2 comma 1 over 2, and this is the pi over 3. This become 1 over 2 comma root 3 over 2, and this is 2 pi over 3. This coordinate becomes negative 1 over 2 comma root 3 over 2, and this is the 5 pi over 6, and this coordinate becomes negative root 3 over 2 comma 1 over 2, and this point pi become negative 1 comma 0. I forgot here, actually this become 1 comma 0. So after beyond the pi, we can also make 7 pi over 6. So this is the 7 pi over 6. This coordinate become negative root 3 over 2 comma negative 1 over 2. This is the 3 pi over the 4 pi over 3, and this point becomes negative 1 over 2, and then negative root 3 over 2. This is the 5 pi over 3, and then angle value becomes 1 over 2 comma negative root 3 over 2. I forgot 3 pi over 2 because this is 0 comma negative 1, and 11 pi over 6, that is the root 3 over 2 comma negative 1 over 2, and then we just go over to 1 comma 0 like that. Okay, the key point is the yellow marker here, they are all cosine value. And the blue is all sine value here. Okay, so based on this, we can construct basic graph of sine and cosine function. Of course, there's a 45, 9 degree function, unit circle as well, but we can use those value. I think that's also enough. So I mostly use only this value here. Okay. Then now I'm gonna construct sine first. As I told you, Sine means y. Y means blue this case. So this is 1, negative 1, pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 2, 2 pi over 3, 5 pi over 6, pi, 7 pi over 6, 4 pi over 3, 3 pi over 2, 5 pi over 3, 11 pi over 6, and 2 pi here. Okay? Alright, so sine first. So first of all, sine begin 0 here. So 0. And then pi over 6, 1 over 2. So 1 over 2. And then pi over 3, root 3 over 2. So here. And then pi over 2. Oh, I forgot to point this value here. This is 0, 1. So 1. And now 2 pi over 3. So root 3 over 2 again. 5 pi over 6. 1 over 2. Pi 0. 7 pi over 6. Negative 1 over 2. 4 pi over 3. Negative root 3 over 2. 3 pi over 2. Negative 1. And then 5 over 3, negative root 3 over 2, 11 pi over 6, negative half, 2 pi, 0. Okay. So if I connect this graph, so it looks like this. Okay. So this is one complete cycle, basically. So I only limited the period 0 to 2 pi, okay, in this case. Okay, then, now the basic parent function of sine x, what's the amplitude? So amplitude means the distance between this center to either maximum or minimum here. You can do either way. Okay, so from here to here, the total becomes 1. So this case, the amplitude becomes 1 basically. Okay. All right, then let's talk about cosine x graph. So I just use same plane graph so you can see a little bit difference between sine and cosine as well. Okay. So cosine means x, right? So I can using just the red one. So at the beginning it become 1. So 0 and 1, pi over 6, root 3 over 2, pi over 3, 1 over 2, pi over 2, 0, and 2 pi over 3, negative half, and 5 pi over 3, negative root 3 over 2, pi, negative 1, and 7 pi over 6 become negative root 3 over 2, and 4 pi over 3, negative half, and 3 pi over 2, 0, 5 pi over 3, 1 over 2, and 11 pi over 6, root 3 over 2, 2 pi, 1 here. So if I connect the cosine x graph here, it looks like this. Okay, so I also doing the period 0 and 2 pi, and then this time the sine and cosine also amplitude becomes 1 because we using the unit circle value. Unit circle means r equal to 1. Okay, so next video we want to talk about more other types of graph of sine and cosine.